Hello and welcome back, friends. If you're new around here, I'm Big Gator. If you came looking for the sharpest tennis bets, you're right where you belong. Right now we're covering the ATP Shanghai Masters. Yes. So, get in the comments, let me see what you're playing for the second day of the first round, and keep your eyes peeled for my pinned comment if you'd like to follow along with what I'm betting with as well. If you do like the breakdown of these matches, please give this video a like. It goes a super long way. Thank you for those that do, by the way. And if you'd like to get my picks as soon as I upload, you want to just go straight to the pinned comment, you can subscribe. It's the fastest way to do so. You can turn notifications on as well. It'll get you there immediately. If you do feel generous for any of the wins that you do get on the channel, there's a link at the bottom of the pinned comment if you'd like to donate, as well as a link to my free Discord, which features a bunch of other picks if you'd like to get involved with that. I do things outside of the sports books if you're looking for like DFS picks and props and DraftKings fantasy. So get yourself involved. It's a big community growing every day. That being said, what are we looking like for today? Well, Shanghai Masters is not doing us too well, jumping into it. Interesting losses. We took Sebastian Korda and Marton Fucsovics, two heavy favorites. They were two of the 8 upsets today. So you can look at me like I have 3 heads and say that I made the wrong decision. You can try to at least, but there were 8 upsets today. So you were bound to be wrong somewhere. It is how it is. It goes like this at times. This is why I tell people to bet lightly on the first round. And we have another day of the first round. So guess what I'll be doing today? All right. So without further ado, we're going to get into it. We have quite a few matches to go through today. And believe it or not, there will still be one tomorrow, a first rounder. But anyway, let's start with our first. That'll be Yibing Wu going against Dalibor Svrcina. And this is going to be actually their second head-to-head. They played in 2022 in the Seoul Challenger, where Yibing Wu won in straight, 6-2, 6-4. That was 3 years ago, though, right? We've been seeing some very interesting performances from this Czech player, Dalibor Svrcina. Yibing Wu has been having an outstanding season on the hard court with a 23-7 record. And Dalibor has a 27-12 record. Crazy enough, these guys are both in the 60% win rate percentile. Wu has got a 64%, but Dalibor is stuck with a 61. So, in China, with a better record on a hard court, I would kind of lean on Wu. Both of these guys were teetering from challenger to ATP level stuff, but we've been seeing a bit more success, just a bit more success on the hard courts from Yibing Wu. With a challenger title this season, back in Cary, or no, Tyler, wherever that is in America. Made it to the semifinals in Hangzhou. He's been playing well. Svrcina made it to the quarterfinals in Hangzhou, so they both lost to the same guy. They both played Bublik, so we know he took the title there. I would lean a little bit on it, on Wu, but maybe just to get a set. Let's see what they're priced at. Okay, Wu is a favorite at -152. If you guys do feel like Wu is not the guy, take Svrcina for a set, right? He did just come off a straight set win in qualies against Watanuki with a 6-4 bagel ending second set. He's been bageling people recently, so that is something to notice. He's had what? He's had 3 bagels in the past 2 weeks. Like what? Oh, he got bageled, actually. I'm sorry. He has 2 bagels in the past week. Still impressive. He's playing better this week than he was last week. But still, Yibing Wu got through Manarino, Korda, Medvedev, and just couldn't get through Bublik. I think we're going to take Wu here. Like, his form is just screaming, I'm ready. Being able to beat Berrettini and Zhang, good wins for you. He has gone, like, so we have seen Svrcina go against a Chinese man in China. So that support is definitely going to be there. He did get through that match with all that going on. So there, I do think that he could produce a set. Maybe you can get a 2-1 from Wu. He was playing a lot of 3-setters back in Hangzhou, so maybe it goes to that. But I do think I lean a little bit harder on Wu here. And we can move on. And next match we have is Botic Van de Zandschulp going against Nuno Borges. And this is going to be their first head-to-head. We just saw Botic lose in the second round of qualies against Scary Terry Atmane. And we also had Nuno Borges, who lost in the second round in Tokyo against Taylor Fritz. So both lost to people expected to lose to, honestly. Those guys are just hitters right now. So Taylor Fritz, I can't really say too much. But Botic is 13-10 on the hard court this season. Nuno is 14-13. Crazy enough, there's a 10% difference in win rate, with Nuno having a 68% win rate. He didn't come to Asia last year, Nuno, but he was here back in 2023, where he made it to the final in a challenger against Kovacevic and lost in the straights. But he didn't do well in Shanghai. He lost in the first round to Grigor Barrere, some random name. Lost in the first round in Chengdu. Lost in the first round of the U.S. Open. Wins in Salem, Cincinnati, and not since Miami. So he had a decent 2023, but it wasn't that great. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why his win rate is so high. He had a 29-4 season, but it was all at challenger level. Not even challenger level. It was all ITFs. So he just has a juiced up win percentage on the hard courts, but it's not because he's actually played like ridiculously well. Nuno isn't that great on the hard court, in my opinion. He's decent, but he's not great. Botic is a little bit more trustworthy at times. We did see him get to a final, so that's more than we've seen Nuno do on a hard court this year. I would lean a little bit on Botic because Scary Terry double tiebreak. Come on now, he could have. He was close to getting a set there. So I like Botic for a set. Not going to play it though. And we'll move on. Our next match is going to be Jensen Brooksby going against James Trotter. And this is the Japanese guy, right? Yes. James Kent Trotter from Japan. This is going to be their first head-to-head. Brooksby, as we know, we just saw him back in Tokyo. So a bit of ways away. Let's see how far. Flights. Time from Tokyo to Shanghai. It's a 3-hour flight. It's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. So, and they're just an hour behind. So there's a very slight time difference over there. So the people coming from Tokyo coming to Shanghai should be like virtually fine. Like virtually there should be no difference in their game. It was a very slight travel. It's like taking a train in Europe, right? So 9-9 for Brooksby. Got all the way to the semifinals in Tokyo. Lost against Taylor Fritz. But went through Ugo Humbert, Luciano Darderi, and Holger Rune in straights, bro. That was crazy. It'd always be like that, right? People would just be winning in straights and they go against someone super good that they just can't win against at all, and they lose in straights. It's like I see that so often. Then we have Trotter, who has gone through qualies, beating Tristan Boyer and Dinky Hijikata. So, haven't really seen much of him at an ATP level. He's going against someone who has played in Masters. He himself was in the Masters in Cincinnati this year and couldn't go past the first round of qualies. So, I think that kind of just chalks up everything in the conversation right there. The Jensen Brooksby money line is at minus 370. I'd be dumbfounded if he loses this match. I straight up would be. I'd be like, you gotta be joking me. Everything is wrong with the world. Play style even pretty sure Trotter's a ball striker, like baselining, and Brooksby can kind of do whatever. So he's a scrappy player. I like the Brooksby, but I don't like the price. I wish it was at minus 220. Minus 220 would be nice. Minus 370, you're doing too much. All right, next match. We have a name we haven't seen in a minute. We got Francisco Comesana going against Ugo Blanchet. And this is going to be their fourth head-to-head, but first time on the hard court. So Comesana did win the first two times. That was back in 2023 and 2024 in the final in Oreas. A challenger on the clay. Won in a three-setter. Won the first set, dropped the second, and won the third. And then he beat him in a semifinal and another challenger. But in qualies just last year for Hamburg, so ATP, the first time they played each other was in qualies, and Comesana lost in straights. And that was on the clay, which is pretty sure that's his favorable surface. Yes, it is. Blanchet he plays just as much on the clay as he does the hard, so got wrecked there, I guess. But anyway, we have these two going head-to-head. Recently, Blanchet has been winning in straights. He got rid of Chris Eubanks in straights, in qualies, as well as Regulate. I guess that's how you say it. I'm probably butchering that name, but Comesana had one match in the Davis Cup about 2 weeks ago against Jesper de Jong, lost in straights. It was an indoor hard court match. So, and then he went to a four-setter right before losing that match. He was in a four-setter that had 3 tie breaks with Cam Norrie. So, yeah, so just looking at that a little bit, like, hey, both of these guys are ranked what? Well, Ugo Blanchet's ranked 150. So, I mean, Comesana and him having this run of a 2-1 head-to-head, I think it means little to nothing. I do think that we can get the simple win from Comesana here. I don't know why he's even money. It's a great price for him. I'd love to root for him. He's going against someone ranked, what, 150. He beat Chris Eubanks. That's not really saying a lot. And it was kind of close. And that's no offense to Chris Eubanks. He lost to Thomas Mahac in straights in the U.S. Open. He did make it to the third round, beating Jakub Mensik and Fabian Medjedovic. Kind of crazy there. So, can't sleep on him. For sure. Being able to beat those two is definitely a little bit more impressive than being able to beat Mickelson, but not being able to beat Norrie in the U.S. Open, right? So I kind of see why the price is where it's at. Comesana to win a set is minus 290. I don't hate that. I probably will be playing Comesana on the DraftKings Fantasy today, so just to keep things a little bit in control after the past 2 days we've been having. Things have been a little bit wonky, so I'm trying to keep it. Going to sharpen up for everybody. We're getting a little bit loose on making some bets. So I'll lock back in for you guys. We'll move on though from this match. The next we have is This will be a short one that I cover, but it's going to be Camilo Ugo Carabelli going against Terrence Atmane, a.k.a. Scary Terry. And this is going to be their first head-to-head. Ugo Carabelli is on a 4-match losing streak on the hard courts, retiring to Ben Shelton back in Cincinnati. That's where it started. And lost to Echeverry in straights at the U.S. Open, Dinky in the first round of Hangzhou, and Alejandro Davidovich Falkina in the first round of Beijing. He's been going through it. But Terrence Atmane is not going to make it much better for you. He dropped a set to Ben right before retiring. That was the last lefty he had played since Ugo Gaston, who he played on the clay in Monte Carlo, in which he bageled. So, let me get a better look at this real quick. Okay. He's got a 4-3 record against lefties. But Scary Terry is now in the top 100. Not only that, he's in the top 70. Okay, so he's never beat anyone in the top 70. This will be his first time, if he does, but I don't think he's going to. Do we take Scary Terry and straights here? It's minus money, and he's too new of a guy to be taking his straight sets and minus money. Like, yeah, bro, you're good, but you're up and coming still, and yeah, that's ridiculous that they have his price at that. But as you know, he did just come off taking a set off Yannick Sinner in the second round of Beijing, so him winning in straights should be pretty obvious there. He had a 6-4, 6-2 win against Xi Jinping, which makes me feel like it's going to be a bit more of that type of spread. His spread is currently at minus 4.5. You could take it, but I'd probably go under 12.5 games for Atmane in this. That's probably like the closest way to get an even money bet for him, because that's him winning convincingly in straight sets, right? Or him losing. That covers both. So, getting completely blown out the water or him blowing someone out the water. That bet kind of covers that. I like that more than anything else because the spreads are ridiculous. Minus 3.5 on the spread for Atmane is minus 220. That's also a decent play if you wanted to take that. More than welcome to, but I won't stay on that too much longer. Let's get on with the rest of the matches. And next we have a name that we know all too well. Two names we know all too well. We have Riley Opelka going against Benjamin Bonzi. And boy, oh boy, did Bonzi let us down in the last match we had him in. But we can't take one bad match and call someone a bad egg. We don't. We don't do that. What we can do is bet on them and give them some chances and see if we just like fucked up with betting when they were consistent. And we tried that with Sebastian Korda. So Opelka and Bonzi, this is going to be their second head-to-head. They played 7 years ago on the clay, so it'll be night and day. And what we see here, Opelka won in straights with 18 aces on the clay. So, let's see. Bonzi got to a tiebreak with Medjedovic, but lost in straights. Opelka lost in straights to Casper Ruud, but took it to a tiebreak. We the one thing we know about Opelka is that he's good for tiebreaks, right? Like that's his thing. So Ben Bonzi is definitely somebody I can see going to a tiebreak with him. You might even get two here, but if you don't know much about Riley Opelka, this guy has a ridiculously huge serve. He's like 7 feet tall almost. He doesn't have the best movement because of that. He usually doesn't return the ball too great. He's like him and Giovanni and Pecci Pericard have very similar outcomes to their matches. If you know about Giovanni and Pecci Pericard, the black 6'8" dude that can serve hard as shit too. These guys are only really good for holding their own serve. Like, them creating break point chances is like very, very rare. The fact that we had a game where Opelka literally beat Demonar in straights by breaking him once was crazy. So I think he went, let's see, he made it to what? Den Bosch? He made it to Den Bosch from qualies, right? On the grass earlier this season. Lost in the semifinals to Zizou Bergs, but before getting to that match, not even, from that match and before, bro generated like 4 break points in the entire tournament, and he played 5 matches. He played 6. He generated 5 break points. Like, on some nut shit. Like, that's kind of crazy. So, I would think that they can just go to a tiebreak here, and I'm going to just leave it at that, because we haven't seen him in a minute. We saw him in the Laver Cup against Casper Ruud. Didn't look too hot. But didn't look terrible. He looked like Opelka. So the tiebreak is at minus 240. That is a parlay piece that is not worth my time. That's what I'll tell you right there. So moving on, we will look at Arthur Cazaux going against Pedro Martinez. And this is going to be their second head-to-head. A lot of these guys have played each other, but only on the clay. This is very, very funny. But Cazaux did win 2 years ago in Madrid. And qualies against Pedro, he dropped the first set but won the next 2 with a third set tiebreak. Now, we know that Martinez is not good on hard courts. He's not... It's crazy. Like, when you watch him, he isn't, like, terrible. It just seems like he's just playing against someone that's way better. This is going to be another example of that. He's 4-10 with a 49% win rate. The thing is, he be having these moments where he can get a set. Like he took a set off Hogarune in the Davis Cup. Maybe it's because of the Davis Cup, but took a set off Gio. Took a set off Nicholas Jerry. I don't know. He's ranked 70. Cazaux is ranked 80. So he's 4-10. Cazaux is 12-12. Obviously, he's going to be beating him. He's a minus 390 favorite. Cazaux is. So if you wanted to get a spread, I would definitely ult it to 3.5 or 2.5, because that's even a decent price. Minus 2.5 is minus 260. Fuck yeah. Because those been playing pretty well, right? He beat Jerry Shang, Clanton Halys with an early retirement. Coleman Wong couldn't beat Jakob Mensing, but he took a set off of him. Okay, that's not light. So I do like him covering the spread by at least 3 games. That is definitely a decent play there. I like that. All right, next we have Zhou going against Jesper de Jong. I'm sorry. And this is going to be their first head-to-head. But something I can say is that we saw him in what? Zhou was that young pup from China, right? Remember we saw him against Cam Nori last week, and he had like 22 aces or some shit, and then he went against Chris O'Connell and still had he only had 4 against Chris O'Connell, but 22 aces against Cam Nori. The fuck, and then went to Beijing and only had 6 against David Goffin. So maybe that was just a bad day for Nori. Regardless, Yiju's impressed me with that one match. Going against De Jong, though, he is someone that you can't sleep on him either. He's one of those upset causers. And I told you guys Munar causes upsets, and I bet against him. This is what I be saying, man. De Jong is the favorite. Minus 220. We haven't seen him play against someone, or has he even been to China before? Has he been to Asia before now? No. This is like his first time in Asia. There could be a level of culture shock here. Just a slight level of culture shock. And I mean that, like, he may be like, oh shit, there are a lot of people here. Oh shit, there are a lot of people supporting this guy in this match. It could be that. But he's played all over the world now. So, like, De Jong knows that playing against people in their country he's done that already. So, this is going to be different, though. This is going to be different. I have a feeling. But anyway, Yizhu is 18-22 on the hard courts this season. De Jong is only 6-6. Doesn't play much on the hard courts, but he's got a 65% win rate. That's 13% higher than Yizhu's. So, Yizhu's been playing on challengers as well this year. De Jong plays at the ATP level. Lost to Monterino in qualies, but he did beat Tristan Schoolcake back in Beijing. He beat Comesana, as we spoke about earlier, in the Davis Cup, but lost to Echeverry. Was able to get to the first round in the U.S. Open, and went to a 5-setter with Nakashima in the first round and lost. But he lost to Dalibor Svrcina as well, the new Czechia star on the up and up. So, being able to lose to Dalibor Svrcina and Zhou being beaten by Goffin should kind of tell you that De Jong is kind of going to get it done here. I'm not going to touch this match, but De Jong is the obvious one. You might play him for DraftKings, though. That'd probably be a good move. All right, next we have Kamil Majchrzak going against Ethan Quinn. And they played each other earlier this year in the U.S. Open, right? It was a straight set win for Majchrzak. 6-1, 6-4, 6-3. And I don't know if he's healthy, but we saw him retire in the U.S. Open. So I'm a little worried about touching this match, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, he shouldn't be back unless he's healthy. But we don't know. It's been a month. Hopefully he's healthy. The injury that he had was a torn intercostal muscle. I don't even know where the intercostal is. Let me see. What the fuck is that? It's a rib injury. It's the meat in between your ribs. It's the muscle in between your ribs. Okay, so yeah, you're not. If you can't move your ribs, you can't do shit. I don't know if I'm betting on a guy that had a rib injury He is the underdog right now, but I don't like that. Taking him to win is crazy, but maybe taking him for a set could happen. I would stay away, honestly. Ethan Quinn, I love Ethan Quinn. I just pulled his card recently, so he's 40-24 on the hard court this year. Majchrzak is 34-18, so Ethan's playing better by 6 games, but also has 6 more losses. I would. What would I do? What would I tell you to do? I would take Majchrzak under 12.5 games. That's what I would do. I would play that. Because he's either going to beat the shit out of Ethan Quinn or he's not going to win. Depending on how. Actually, that's not true. We don't know how well he's looking. Maybe you take him for a second. I don't know. I can't guess that when you don't know how healthy somebody is. A rib injury is like pretty serious, but let me see how long it takes to heal. A grade 1 strain can be 2 to 3 weeks, but a grade 2 strain can be 2 to 3 months. Not touching it. This happened a month ago. A grade 3 tear could take 6 to 9 months or longer. Oh. Let me see. Based on the typical recovery time for this injury, his healing process is likely still ongoing. It has been 1 month since the injury. Is more okay? Yeah, leave it alone. Had to check that out for y'all real quick. Leave that shit alone. Let's move on. Good luck to him though. Good luck to Ethan Quinn for real. But we know Majchrzak is good on the hard court, so hopefully he's healthy and we get a good match. But next we'll move on to Damir Dzumhur going against Christopher O'Connell. And this is going to be the first time they play each other. It's been weird. It's already been weird in Shanghai, so I'm just telling you right now, Dzumhur is the underdog at plus 138. He has been on a pretty bad losing streak. 3 matches, but he keeps going from hard court to clay. And I don't know if that's... Oh, he did that for the Davis Cup. Okay, I'm sorry. He's been playing on the hard court since Umag. Or since before the U.S. Open, so... He's made his transition back on here, but he's only had 2 wins. 2 wins, but he has how many sets won in each match? Let's see. So he's had 7 matches played. And there's only been 3 matches where he got straight setted. Yeah. Toronto against Comesana. Echeverry and Hangzhou. And Meza in the Davis Cup. Those are the only times he didn't get a set. So I like the idea of him getting a set against Chris O'Connell. He's ranked better than him. But Chris O'Connell does have a better rank record on the hard court. Going 18-14 this season. Dzumhur has got a 9-10 record so far. But he is 32-29. O'Connell's 22-27. So just let that sink in. Dzumhur has 10 more wins this season. Granted, they were on the clay, but win percentage, it's about a 6% difference going in O'Connell's way. And O'Connell on his best day is ranked, 53. So if we get half of that even, we can kind of get him at a ranked 75 level, which is not too far from Dzumhur, which is ranked 66 right now. We have not been getting him on his best days, so I'm not going to assume he's going to play like a ranked 23 player, which is what he would be on his best day. We know that Dzumhur has this tendency of losing the first set and then winning the second one. So if you wanted to play that, little like fun parlay, see if that hits. It's plus 333 just for those two to have the first set winning. Set 1 O'Connell, set 2 for Dzumhur. It's plus 126 for Dzumhur to get the second set. I would just take him to win a set. It's minus 196. I would like to see him do it again before I bet on it again, just to make sure it is really a thing. 4 times out of 7 isn't bad, but I need it to be more like 5 times out of 7 for me to be like, you should do this. But we'll move on. O'Connell is the favorite, so maybe he does get it done with this record, but I think that Dzumhur might be the upsetter here. Might be playing him on DraftKings Fantasy. And next we have McDonald going against Halys. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't care much for this match. Halys does lead in their head-to-head. Their one match they played 2 years ago in Miami with a straight set win, a tie-break in the first, and then 6-3 in the second. The Frenchman, Halys, is 11-13 on the hard court this season. McDonald is 20-14. But when we bet on him, he couldn't do it against people with a 4-6 record or a 1-6 record on the hard court. He couldn't do it. So I would not be touching McDonald. To me, he kind of just takes up like draw space that needs to get filled up. People got to play. Then we have the records this season. Mac is 32-25. Halys is 17-25. They have the same amount of losses, but he has like half the amount of wins. So yes, on paper, McDonald should win. I will not be touching him. I won't be. He's a favorite at minus 178. Yeah. I don't know. He should win, but when they have played each other 2 years ago, at least won. So, in straights. So I couldn't tell you to maybe cover a spread. Maybe at least to cover a spread, maybe plus 4.5. It's probably worth nothing. Minus 380. If you feel like that, I don't. But we'll move on. Our next match is going to be Marcus Giron going against Alejandro Tabilo. And this is going to be their second head-to-head as well. They played on the clay 3 years ago in Madrid in qualies where Tabilo won in straights. But this is not on clay. This is the hard. And we just saw recently Marcus Giron lost in a super close match between him and Sebastian Korda, which should have been the red herring there. If that's the level, then it's so hard to tell that though, right? We got Sebastian Korda who went in a 3-setter against Marcus Giron, who's been playing really well, but then he goes into a 3-setter with Taylor Fritz, but then Taylor Fritz couldn't even get 5 games in a set against Carlos Alcaraz. Like, what is going on? So, my American players are just confusing me right now. I don't know what's up and what's down with these fellas. But we have Giron, who's 13-13 this season. Tabilo is 17-10 at this point. I'm just going to, put it to you like this, okay? Tabilo was 8-9 when he got here, or some shit like that, before the Guan. His record on the hard court was not that great. He literally, since the 9th of September, so what, 3 weeks ago? He's gotten 13 wins on the hard court in the past 3 weeks. 13 wins out of his 17. Bro was 4-5 4-8 or 4-9 when he pulled up to China, bro. So like he's fucking playing really well, and he's a lefty. So you know how I feel about the lefties. Giron, let's see how he does against lefties. Let's look at this. He lost to Manarino in straights. Most recently, lost to Jack Draper in straights. That was back in, April? We might have to look this up. All right, Giron. So he's 5-4 against them this season. He beat Ugo. This is all last year, back in October last year. In the Paris Masters, he had to go against Ugo, Jerry Shang, and Shapovalov in Adelaide earlier this year. Okay. But that's not currently. He did beat Leonard Tien in Madrid. That did happen. But that was Tien's second Masters he had been in. So nerves were there. It was on the clay. He don't play on clay like that. So, yeah. I could see why he got that win. But lost to Manarino. And Tabilo is in some good-ass shape. I just think that, it's even money. Yeah, they don't know who's going to win this one. I would think that both of these guys get a set, though. The riskier side of me is saying both of these guys will get a set. It going to 3 sets is plus 122. But if you're going to ask me who do I trust more, I'm going to trust the guy that has 14 wins recently. Him getting a set is minus 330. Tabilo, why? Maybe we can get a spread covered. Maybe we can get a spread covered. Okay. I think I just like Tabilo for the set. Plus 3.5 on the spread. I don't like that. Yeah, we'll move on. Couldn't tell you who wins this one, though. I would lean on Tabilo, but Marcus Giron he's one of those guys, man. You just can't count him out either. He almost got rid of Sebastian Korda, right? I don't know if that's going to be enough, but we'll move on. Next we have Valentin Royer going against Mariano Navone, and this has been this guy's been everyone's punching bag recently. He's been just here to take the beats. But we got Royer, who made it to the final in Hangzhou against Bublik in a double tiebreak. Crazy, right? And so far, he hasn't dropped a single set in Shanghai. Man, this dude plays really well in China. So far, Navone lost in a 3-setter against Leonard Tien, taking the first set and losing the next 2. Lost to Marcus Giron in a 5-setter back in the U.S. Open. Lost to Boo and Winston-Salem. And then, most recently, in the qualies, Navone lost to Shima Bukuro. So, you lost to Shima Bukuro, you're about to be losing to Royer for sure. That is just how I'm feeling. Penicillin. And Royer's minus 275. Now, that's a money line with a price I like. We've seen what he can do. He's got that damn serve that's going to keep him in the match. Got 0 aces coming from Navone. So if you wanted to, you could go to my Discord and keep a lookout or ask me in my Discord, hey, do you have anything for prize picks or DFS? This will be a match I would go for aces for Royer, depending on what the number is. But yeah, I like the money line here. This is great. I don't think I gotta really do too much digging on why, but Royer is 15-7 this season on the hard. Navone is 5-11 with a 33% win rate on the hard court. Is that enough for you? All right, thought so. Next match, we have Matteo I always struggle with this. Matteo Arnaldi. Matteo Arnaldi going against Ray Sakamoto. If I can find it. Okay. And this is going to be their first head-to-head. Ray Sakamoto is the young Japanese at 19 years of age. He just beat McDonald in straights. You see what I be saying? Beat Brandon Holt in straights as well. In qualies in Shanghai. Then we have Arnaldi, who got rid of Kovacevic in qualies. Back in Tokyo. That was crazy. But he went against Luca Nardi, who he bageled in the first set, and then got to a tiebreak in the second, and then ended up winning in the third. Lost to Cazaux and Cerundolo, and he's been on a little bit of a stinker on the hard courts. I'm not gonna lie. He's only had about one match won. That was against Luca, and the qualies round in Tokyo. So the young Sakamoto being able to get rid of some ATP names like McDonald and Brandon Holt. Went to a tiebreak with Vukic in the qualies, but beat Adam Walton in straights. Like, I think this kid is more than good for a set against Arnaldi. Or am I tripping? Let me know. Ray Sakamoto's price, he's the dog at plus 162. I like him for a set, though, at minus 172. That's a good price. I think that's reasonable. All right. Matteo is 10-13 this season, but he has a 60% win rate on the hard court. And then we have a 22-15 record for Sakamoto. So 12 more wins, 2 more losses. Now, most of those were at a challenger level. A fair amount of them were at a challenger level. But, for the season, they've been playing pretty similarly well. Like, Matteo hasn't been getting a lot of wins on the ATP, but he's playing at that level. Sakamoto's been getting a few more wins, but at the challenger level, and poking his head into a few ATP events, but not getting too far. Losing in the first round, or getting through qualies, and then just losing in the first round once you get out of qualies. So he's ranked 190 going against someone that's ranked 73. Now, we saw a ranked 9 person lose to a ranked 112 person, pushing them to rank 72, which was Musetti versus Tabilo. That was just last week, so not saying that this is impossible here. Just letting y'all know. It's tennis. It can happen. I like Sakamoto for a set, so maybe we can go for Mr. Sakamoto. Maybe 2-1 Arnaldi if you're feeling risky. But we'll move on. Next we have, this is going to be a good one, Arthur Rinderknech going against Ahmad Medjedovic. Big Medji is back. And we have, what is this? 9 ranks apart. 54 for Rinderknech, 63 for Medjedovic. Medjedovic lost in straights recently in Tokyo to Higueruna. Then we have Rinderknech, who lost in a 3-setter against Alex de Minaur. Took a set off David Goffin after losing to him, right? That was the funniest, weirdest shit. And he learned from his loss and then came back and beat him in 3. And then took a set off Demonar. That's fucking impressive, and that's hard to do in an ATP 500. So that won't go unrecognized. But he is 8-14 on the hard court this season. Medjedovic is 6-6. He's only played about 70 matches. Rinderknech has lost over 70 matches on the hard court so far. So he's won 108. 58% win rate going against Medjedovic with a 56. So this could be a close one. This could be a people like to count out Rinderknech. I know they do. And if you look at how he's been playing, you'd be like, oh, yeah, of course. But Medjedovic got rid of Diallo. He just got rid of him in Winston-Salem in straights. So it would only make sense. I would go this time around. We saw the pattern that could be developing, right? I've lost to you. I played you again. I beat you, is what Rinderknech is on. He lost to Medjedovic just a month ago. And it went to a tiebreak in the last set. So it got close. He figured him out, it seems. So I would either take the spread here, or I would take Rinderknech for a set. But I would go for the plus 4.5 if it exists. But I don't think it does. The plus 4.5 for Rinderknech. Or him for a set. Which is at minus 230. I won't take that. I just won't. That's just me. It's first round. I can't really depend on someone like that first round. We'll see how he gets through the first round, and then I'll put some money on him. But we have 2 matches left, so we'll get into that. And it's going to be 2 lefty matches, so I'm looking forward to that. And they're going to be later, so I'll be able to watch them when I awake. It is going to be Alexander Kovacevic going against Jerry Shang. And their second head-to-head, which was continuing on from their first one back in the semifinals in the Lexington Challenger back in 2022, where it went to a 3-setter where Jerry Shang won. Dropped the first set and won the next 2. Now, Kovacevic has been in a immense stinker. It has been sad to see, but he has been losing damn near. If he didn't get that win against Miselic, he would have been looking cooked out here, bro. But outside that Miselic win, he is on a 7-match losing streak, with that one win being right in the middle of it. So it kind of cracked his losing streak after 3, and now he's at a 4-match losing streak. But if you don't count it, he's lost 7, and that's a lot to be losing. Going all over the place just to be losing. We got Jerry Shang, still hasn't left China yet. He's still here. He was in Chengdu in Beijing. Maybe 3rd time's a charm for Jerry Shang. He got through the first round, but it took a lot to get through Zizou Bergs. And then we have Arthur Cazaux, who he bageled him and then somehow just lost it. So Jerry Shang is the favorite at minus 250. I would be quite surprised if he loses. I'm not going to lie to you. Objectively speaking, I'd be quite surprised if he loses. Kovacevic is 30-27 this season, and he's 13-13 on the hard court with a 56% win rate. Jerry Shang is 4-7 across all surfaces and on the hard court this season, and he's still got a 63% win rate. He's played 11 matches, and he's still playing, like, a bit better. Like, statistically, he's still better. Now, he is on a bit of a stinker, too, but losing to Cazaux is one thing. Having a close match against Nakashima is another thing. I don't think Kovacevic is having that close of a match against Nakashima as of, like, today, so... And then also beating Zizou Bergs in 3. Zizou Bergs just got rid of Sebastian Korda. So, looks like Zizou Bergs might be getting back into form. Maybe. Or is he just beating someone that's out of form? question for another time. I would go for maybe taking the DraftKings fantasy for Jerry Shang. He might be at a decently good price. If you wanted to play other things that cost more, he might be someone at a little bit of a better price. But yeah, we'll move on. I like Jerry Shang to win. I don't like how Kovacevic has been playing. And last but not least, we have Boo Inchakete going against Juan Manuel Cerundolo. And this is going to be their first head-to-head, and this is also going to be the last match of the day. So it's going to be the prime time match, the late match, and it's a lefty going against the Chinese man in China. So should be huge. 3-2 record for Boo against lefties so far this season. He lost to Henry Searle. I don't know who that is. But he beat Albert Ramos. Don't know who that is. He's ranked what? Didn't even have a rank, I guess. Wild card from Spain. And beat Cam Norrie in the Miami Masters in March of this year. Beat Adrian Manarino in the Mets in November of last year. But Juan Manuel Cerundolo is only ranked 71 now, which is actually great because he was like at the top 100 recently, so his climb has been great. Excuse me. The brother of Francisco Cerundolo, the right-handy, going against. So he does have some experience, in his off time, probably going against right-hand players. He's got a pretty bad record so far this season on the hard courts. I'm sorry, not this. I'm talking about Boo. Boo is 9-15 this season, which is kind of crazy. And then we have an 8-7 Cerundolo. So crazy enough, Boo has a 68% win rate. Juan Manuel has a 43% win rate. So just those numbers are a little bit like, huh? But if you're really paying attention to what the numbers are saying, they're super inflated by Boo's Challenger run last year. He went like 40-14. I think one season he went like 85-24, and they were all like ITF matches. So he just has a super juiced up line for his win rate, but it's all from like not ATP level wins. So a good 140, 125 maybe. Yeah, a good 100 of his 165 wins were from not even ATP. So, in reality, his record is more like 65-75 career-wise, if you're asking me, or 65-65. So he's got more of a 50% win rate, which isn't too far off from 44% for Cerundolo. So going against lefties, lefties in the top. Let me see how he does against lefties in the top 100. He's 2-0 against them. So he beat Cam Norrie and Adrian Manarino. Something to think about. That was some time ago. We have not gotten many wins from Boo, but we have been getting some. Not since Winston-Salem, though, right? Since Navone and Tsitsipas and Shang. Those are people that we expected you to beat, but Botic we expected you to beat. You didn't beat him. Valentin Royer, you should have been able to beat him, but you lost in straights. Zizan Zhang, we expected you to beat him. Demonar, we didn't expect you to beat him. You got bageled. So, Juan Manuel Cerundolo, I think I'm leaning on you to get a set here. Just a very, very slight lean. Might be playing that off camera. Don't know. But that does wrap up the entire slate for tomorrow. But I'm not going to do that, actually. I'm going to go through the entire first round because there's only one first round match left, and it's taking place the next day. So I'll just cover that now because I want to. And then we can get into the full second round in the next video. How does that sound? So to conclude our first round, we are going to have our finalists from Beijing. Tien going against Miomir Kecmanovic. And they played in the U.S. Open 3 years ago. And it was a 4-set win for Kecmanovic. Funny enough. But we just saw Tien get cheated out of 2 solid, good top 10 wins. I mean, they count as wins because they retired and the victory went to them, but they didn't want to get their asses actually beaten by him. And they called quits before it was too late. Musetti and Medvedev, shame on you. Give that boy his win. But going through Caboli and straights, Cerundolo, he was having a bad day. So that was just that. Cerundolo in 3. Got rid of everyone in 3 besides Caboli. And then, obviously, center. Got rid of him in straights. But Kecmanovic went against Minchik in the first round. Lost in straights. Lost to Fonseca in the U.S. Open in straights. Lost to Sebastian Korda in the U.S. and the Winston-Salem leading up to that. So, not really too impressed with what I'm seeing here. I would look at Tien to get on the plane from Beijing, fly over here, get it done. He got a day to rest. He is the favorite. He is the dog right now. Take him. He can't be that tired. Take him. First round, he's plus 105. Take him while it's early. All right. And that'll definitely do it for me for today. Let's talk a little bit about what we got going on for futures. If anybody has any futures that they're looking to play. Let me see if I can find the futures. They even let me. Damn it. Guess not. Well, as you know, if you probably don't know, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Alcaraz did sustain a bit of an ankle injury back in Tokyo, even though he won the title. He's not going to be taking place in participating in the Shanghai Masters, which leaves Jannik in a very compromising position. If he wins this one, the rankings definitely are going to be back in conversation of who's going to get to the top again. I think that if you win a Masters, you get like 1,000 points, bro. So I know. 1,000 points might be the difference in what's needed to surpass Alcaraz at number 1. And I'm not going to lie to you. Literally, it is. If Alcaraz, which he's not participating, God damn. If Alcaraz sits back just for this one Masters and Jannik wins it, he's number 1 again. Jannik will go from will drop being from number 1 for literally just like a week or 2 and come right back to being on top. But it puts them like at 400 points apart now. So every tournament they play in for the rest of the year now is going to be like shit. They'll be fighting for number 1 really hard for this point out. This is going to be really exciting because their competitiveness is definitely going to amp up. But anyway, I got diverted there. But I do like Tien to get the match done. I do like his win rate at 75%, 23-12. Kecmanovic is 16-13 with a 57% win rate. It's reversed. So, yeah, I'm taking Tien. No favorites here, just straight paperwork talk. And yeah, that's all we got. That's all we got. I know I chopped into the futures talk already right there, so we'll look and see. I like Ben to win this whole thing, but we can talk about that some other time. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. It's been a long video. Peace.